gotta allow kids, people to be punk rockers and be radical.
What kind of garbage is that anarchy symbol? What kind of garbage is my anarchy symbol? What kind of garbage is my anarchy symbol? What kind of garbage is my anarchy symbol? Anarchy, anarchy,
We, as a society, are filled with evil. It's time that we took the government on, and it's time that we got them. What should we do? We gotta turn in our own. We gotta go back to faith in our Lord. We've gotta go back. We gotta allow kids and people to be punk rockers and be radical. We have to so that they can learn to fight these evils, and that they can learn to stand up for themselves. You know, punk stand up in the Bible, stand up for yourself, and change
Nope, muted doubly. There we go. Hello. Gonna mute my stream now. Ooh-wee, this was boy did I vastly underestimate how much work it would be to cover the entire history of comic retcons, because there sure are a lot of them, and they happen all the time. There were some that happened really recently as well, so I could only really get maybe up to the late 1960s done. I have the 70s to 80s planned out already. No, 70s to 90s all planned out, so I should be able to do that within hopefully a week, maybe 2 weeks. Some of these are a little more bare bones than I'd like, because I was trying to get this done in time. I was literally finishing this 5 minutes before I started the stream. So yeah, you just do the whole Twitter thing real quick. There we go. Oh, cool. Ooh, he hates us. I'm not sure what that's in reference to, but yes, I hate all of you guys. Get out of here. Be gone. Nah, it's nice to see people. Hello Traub, how you doing? Mr. Johnny 4 English. Nice tribute. I'm not sure what that is referencing, but thank you. I'm sure I worked very hard on it, probably. Yeah, so we're talking about retcons today. I'm gonna go over what a retcon is, when it's used, and a bunch of examples. And it's gonna get really messy, because a lot of times, well, there's like a different writer for a lot of. So in comics, a lot of times they have like a lot of writers writing at the same time, and they aren't always good at communicating with each other. So you end up with a lot of people having to go back and fix stuff later on. So that's what this is about today. Or some of it anyway. There is far too much to fit in this presentation thing. I tried to get some of the, not necessarily the most well-known ones, like, yeah, there's some sort of short ones that I thought were fun that I put in. I don't know, we'll find out, we'll see how this goes. Anyways, where is my slides? There it is. So, retcons in comics. This is gonna be hopefully longer than the last stream, because there's actually more text than the previous one, but there is half as many slides, so I don't know if it'll be shorter or quicker or what. But yeah, what we'll be covering today. What is a retcon? Why are they used? And a quick timeline of Marvel and DC. I wrote this initially with the plan of doing up until today. The timeline up until today. I did not get nearly close to that within the time frame I gave myself. I would have had to give myself far more time if I wanted to get that done on time. So we're going up as far as the like mid to late 60s or sort of early 70s. And then some silly retcons I thought were fun, because sometimes people will change stuff, not necessarily because it needs to be changed, but because like a writer has like a really specific idea that they want to use, so they have to change a bunch of stuff to make that fit. And then closing stream summary, which, yeah, cool. That'll happen too. So what is a retcon? It is a contraction of retroactive continuity, which is like changing things when they have pre-existing continuity. For example, in the original so Tolkien wrote The Hobbit first and then Lord of the Rings afterwards. But in order to fit the Hobbit in better with the Lord of the Rings, he rewrote The Hobbit in a little bit and sold it as like a second edition or something. So in the first edition, there are like mentions of the magic ring the Gollum has, and he's just willing to trade it in exchange for winning like a riddle contest or whatever. But in the rewrite, Gollum is much more attached to the ring, and he's like really upset when he loses the ring. So yeah, it's stuff like that where a writer has an idea, but the idea conflicts with a previous bit of written history in fiction or whatever, and they then have to explain why it's not the same as it was in the original story or whatever. So Doctor Who is one that uses retcons constantly. There was stuff using retcons. Big one that they did was for the 50th anniversary. Actually, this year's the 60th anniversary. The anniversary specials are coming out in a couple of months. I'm looking forward to that. But with the 50th anniversary, they had the 9th Doctor, the 10th, and the 11th was what was written down. That's what they had planned. We were going to have the three of them show up at the same time, which just even two actors playing the Doctor at the same time is kind of messing up the continuity on its own. But they couldn't use Christopher Eccleston because he had left in season 1 in 2006 over creator differences, and he refused to ever go back and do more Doctor Who stuff. So when they asked him in 2015, he was like, no, not interested. No. Was it 2015? It might have been 2012, 2013 when they were filming it. Was I talking about? Oh, yeah, so when they asked him again, he said, no, I don't want to do that. So what they did was they created this additional character, played by John Hurt, who's only really referred to as like the War Doctor, because it was on during a big war that took place between 1996 and 2005. So they created this character for that. They created like an additional sort of short, you know, like a little extra bit of footage to explain how he ended up between the 8th Doctor in the 1996 movie and this guy now. They released that as like a backstory thing, and then he shows up in the thing taking the place of the 9th Doctor in the special, and then at the end of the special stuff happens. But yeah, basically they created this character to fill a gap that in the story that they'd written, because they kind of, I guess, I don't know, expected that Christopher Eccleston would just do it. I don't know. Anyways, in comics, why are they used? There are many reasons. Sometimes it's just because the writer has a very specific idea and they need to sort of create context for that idea, and they use like pre-existing stuff. Other times what'll happen is, say they'll have like one writer might have, what was it, Wonder Girl in particular. Wonder Girl was originally just like Wonder Woman but younger, and she would be used for like flashbacks. But when she was put into Teen Titans, they mistakenly thought that it was Wonder Woman's sidekick. So they had to explain then, why is young Wonder Woman now hanging around with current day sidekicks? So they retconned in that it was a different character. And what else? And sometimes it's just because someone on the comic team didn't really like a particular idea. Joe Quesada, in particular, really didn't like that Spider-Man was married. So, at the end of... oh, I don't remember what the writer's run was, but he basically... Joe Quesada was the editor at Marvel Comics at the time, and he sort of, we'll say, encouraged the writer to break up Spider-Man at the end of his run. And a lot of people were very upset about that, because Spider-Man had been married for about 20 years by this point. Oh yeah, Green Lantern's there as well. So Green Lantern has had this whole thing about being weak to the color yellow. So you could beat him by spray painting yourself yellow. You wouldn't be able to pick you up in a baseball mitt or whatever. He'd just have to hit you with his hands. But that would later be changed in, I think, 2011, 2012, to have been like a giant bug. It was actually stopping him from being able to use the color yellow. So yeah, what I was talking about before with Wonder Woman. So originally, Wonder Woman just occasionally would hang out with her teenage self and baby self, and they would go on the occasional adventure. For whatever reason, the times were strange. But when they were forming the Teen Titans, they wanted to have a teen group to get young people sort of interested in their comics, because having like a teen appeal character sometimes works. They did that with Rick Jones as well with the Avengers. That's why Rick Jones sort of forms the Avengers. He hangs around the Hulk a lot and stuff. But yeah, for Wonder Girl in particular, they grabbed Wonder Girl thinking that it was a separate character and not just Wonder Woman from years ago. So they had to rectify that later on in Teen Titans number 22. So for 22 issues of Teen Titans, there was no explanation why this character was there, what their name was, or anything about them as a person. It's basically just like an empty vessel for whatever the story of the week was. Actually, it would have been the week. It was like months at the time. I'm not sure. Yeah, so Wonder Girl was it Teen Titans number 22? They gave her an official backstory, and that was that she had been, as a baby, she was orphaned, and Wonder Woman saved her from a burning building and just kept her. And then she grew up on Themyscira as Wonder Girl. But I don't know, one of the writers decided that doesn't make enough sense. So she's been given different backstories about 4 or 5 times. Wonder Girl specifically, and unfortunately every time Wonder Woman gets a rewrite for her backstory, because her backstory has been kind of messy as well. Wonder Girl also got one. So there was one point where Wonder Girl, like Wonder Woman, had been molded from clay. Another time, she was a magic duplicate of Wonder Woman that was meant to replace her as princess. She ended up not doing that and going on a soul-searching journey with the Titans in, I think, 2012, around then. And then she was an orphan that was rescued by not Wonder Woman, but one of the Titans, which was unrelated to the Teen Titans, but the Titans who rescued her as a baby were like the Greek god Titans, the ones who are the parents of Greek gods. And right now, she's all of these at the same time. She is currently a magic Wonder Woman duplicate who was given false memories by the Greek gods of her being an orphan baby rescued from a fire. Yeah, so it got a bit messy. They really could have just kept it simple with the hello. We're going over the very messy origins of Wonder Girl, along with a bunch of other retcons that I thought were fun. Here we have the man himself, Joe Quesada. He hates happy married couples. After 20 years of Spider-Man and Mary Jane being happily married and having married stories, just being happy and married, Joe Quesada used the end of, I think it was the 2000s run of Spider-Man to break them up. So he felt that Spider-Man being married wasn't relatable. They had to bring him back down. At the time, Spider-Man had like a job, and he was married, and he was happy, and his life was stable. But as is the case with Spider-Man, even today, they refuse to let him be happy. He must go back to the status quo of the 1960s. So I think even right now, he's single, and he doesn't have like a stable income, despite being about 30 and being a genius, basically. He at one point had an extremely successful company, but he lost it all when a watch that he made, I don't know, it was dumb. They really go out of their way to try and find new ways to make Spider-Man homeless, essentially. So the story of One More Day, which is the one we're talking about now, which rewrote Spider-Man so that he was no longer married, was that Aunt May gets shot by a regular bullet. Not a magic bullet, not a super high-tech bullet, a regular bullet, and she's in hospital. And Spider-Man goes to every superhero and villain he can find to help save her from this regular bullet. But it doesn't matter where he goes, nobody can save her from a regular bullet. Like, he goes to see Doctor Doom, he goes to see the Fantastic Four, he sees Iron Man, although I don't think he asks him about it, he just sort of beats him up. He goes to Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange gives him a thing that lets him contact everyone in the multiverse or whatever. And nobody can figure out how to get this bullet out of this old lady. The only person who is able to help is Marvel's equivalent of the devil. And the devil promises to save his dying aunt from the regular bullet if he gives them her marriage. I am here for the Shocker. I actually didn't get it far enough to write about the Shocker, but since you brought him up, I'm going to talk about him. The Shocker has been disrespected for far too long. Initially, he was like a smart guy, an engineer, who went to jail for bank robbing. But like, as time has gone on, he's become more and more of a butt of a joke. There was a period of time where he was depressed and he didn't see the point in life anymore. There was a time in the Ultimate Universe when he was like a joke character that they would use to introduce new superheroes. That they would beat up the Shocker not by accident, but very, very easily. even in the Ultimate Spider-Man game from 2006 or 5 or around then for PS2, they used the Shocker as a training tutorial. Not even a boss. It was literally like, here's how you use webs. This poor guy for decades has just been disrespected. And it wasn't until very, very recently when he became like the head of the Marvel Mafia or whatever, that he was shown any respect whatsoever. Especially wasn't a big fan of the New 52 Mr. Freeze nor a Retcon. Is that the one where she's like alive and she's like evil or something? Oh, what was that? There's a few of them. I remember hearing about this a while ago. She like came back and she was her own character. Yeah, sorry, I'm getting distracted. Also, I wrote at the end here that there were racist Falcon stories that were worse than this, where I think the original plan for Falcon was, like that Marvel did with the Shocker, what DC did with Jeff Johns for the Joker in Batman 3 Jokers. Are there 3 Shockers? Oh, I'm gonna have to look into that, because I'm not sure what you're referring to. Is it like that there were 3 simultaneous Shockers? Because the only one I know of is Herman Schultz. And of course, the one that Bokeem Woodbine plays in the Marvel movie. And the cowboy one from the Spectacular Spider-Man show. And no, I think that's all. I only knew of Herman Schultz from the comics. Are there more? 1 in pink, 2 in the stink? I'm gonna I need to look this up. The Shocker is a hand gesture with a sexual connotation. Oh, I see. Now I get you. Yeah, I did not know that he had his name had a double meaning. Yeah, another thing that annoys me about Shocker is that people always think that he has electric powers when he like makes earthquakes. That's his thing. Well, not like proper earthquakes, but he can make stuff shake. He shoots like blasts that shake stuff. They're like vibration blasts. And even the writers will get this wrong. Like, there was an issue of an old issue of, I think it was the Fantastic, no, it was Spider-Man fighting the Frightful Four, and they dress Electro up as the Human Torch. And in all seriousness, I'm an old school Spider-Man fan, and I met Stanley. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, he shoots like vibration stuff. But yeah, in this old thing where the Frightful Four attack Spider-Man around the Statue of Liberty. Is it Liberty Island in New York? I'm not sure what it's called. But they attack Spider-Man there, they have Electro dressed as the Human Torch. And he like shoots lightning at Spider-Man, and Spider's like, his reaction is, there's only 2 people who've shocked me like that. And the Shocker's in jail or whatever. And I'm like, the Shocker that's not what the Shocker does. He just like shoots like concussive stuff. So basically, New 52 Mr. Freeze is married to Nora. They never even met, and they basically made him a crazy scientist. Gave his back. Oh, okay. Often used the same way as sound powers, which is weird because he'd have the perfect foil. I know, and he'd like. I'm trying to think, has Shocker ever interacted with Venom? I don't think so. The first thing that came to mind was the 90s Spider-Man show, but I don't think that took place in there. And what I'm thinking of likely is Iron Man. It was War Machine and Spider-Man. Finding like Venom in that. But yeah, you're absolutely right. They should be taking more advantage of this stuff. The fact that he's like a sound guy, rather than His name, I think, is the reason for all the confusion. Had they called him something else, he probably would have been doing better. And not in this weird limbo where he's like sort of a joke character, sort of a forgotten character. He showed up a bit in like Dan Slott's Sinister... Superior Sinister 6. No, the... What was it? The Sinister Enemies of Spider-Man? Spectacular Enemies of Spider-Man? Something like that. I think the Shocker was in the 80s Spider-Man. It was an 80s one? Which one was the 80s one? I actually really enjoyed that. I'm not always a fan of Dan Slott stuff, but I really enjoyed Spectacular, but not Spectacular. Superior Spider-Man and the... I think it was the Superior Foes of Spider-Man is what that was called. It was like a 12-issue run. It's probably short for Shockwave. Yeah, but everyone thinks it's electricity. That's the problem. People think he's like an electric guy. The Trapster, aka Pop, was Spider-Man. There are a lot of joke characters like the Gibbon. The Gibbon wanted to work with Spider-Man, and then Spider-Man laughed in his face, and that's why the Gibbon was a villain. He only showed up about 2 times or whatever, but yeah, poor Gibbon. He just wanted to be like Spider-Man's partner, and Spider-Man laughed in his face, and that started the Gibbon's life of crime. Nobody talks about the Gibbon. What's that about? He had like one good issue. There was one Stiltman, Frogman, Big Wheel. Yeah, there's a lot of fun ones. Frogman has forever been replaced in my brain by Brick Frog from Adventure Bros. The Wall, my beloved. Ah, yes. Big Brick Man with just a face poking out. Best joke character, still Condiment King. Ah, yeah. Ooh, you know what? I need to do Rainbow Raiders, also one that I quite like. He's not even like a scary guy. They try to make him scary in the Arrowverse. I don't know what that was about. I think he shows up twice in the Arrowverse. Once as like Rainbow Raider, and then once... I guess they forget that they already had a Rainbow Raider because he comes back in like season 8 of The Flash or whatever. Oh geez, I probably shouldn't even get started talking to The Flash. I'd be here all day. But that poor TV show, it started out really well, but I don't know, things went off the rails quite early on. I think like season 3 was really there was a decline from that point on. I enjoyed parts of season 4 though. It's kind of a shame they couldn't keep that suit, but I think, you know, there were issues with maneuverability with the season 4 suit. It just wasn't as actable in, and that's why they have like the sort of lighter, uglier suit going forwards in season 5 through 9. But yeah, that suit was quite good. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was rubber. Maybe it was made out of rubber or something. But whatever material it was, it just didn't allow for much. Sugar Man. Oh, I hate Sugar Man so much. He makes me so uncomfortable. And why do they have him fighting the Power Pack? What's that about? Like, yes, this small group of children. Let's have him fight. Let's have them fight a giant man with a huge head, big teeth, and like gross hairy arms. 4 of which he has. I always like the DC comic idea of there being a supervillain bar. Yeah, that was fun. That popped up in the MODOK TV show as well. They had like Armadillo, who had never basically been seen in any media up to that point, which was kind of cool. Ice Cream, who was a mutant who could change into ice cream. I did not know that. I need to look into him later. I haven't even touched X-Men in terms of like research stuff for this. I didn't get a chance. The closest I got was like a look at the giant size X-Men for a little bit, but like I've read so much of X-Men, and for whatever reason I just didn't think to put any of it in. Like, I really like I don't know, I know people aren't a huge fan of the whole time displaced original X-Men thing, but I really enjoyed that period of time. I was kind of sad to see them go back to the future. But obviously they had to for, you know, continuity and stuff. Polka Dot Man, he's great. And with the Suicide Squad movie, people, one, know who he is and like him, which is cool. Because I remember playing, what was it, the Lego Batman 3 game, and just zooming around as Polka Dot Man all the time. That was great fun. I'm glad to see some Polka Dot Man love from James Gunn. Ice Cream is not the only mutant with ice cream related powers, the other being the Krakoan mutant Soft Serve, who has the power to poop ice cream. According to Bob Quinn, there is no relation between the two. Soft Serve is a big fan of ice cream. Why is that their go-to for silly mutant abilities? Or was it just that Bob Quinn was a fan of ice cream? That's gotta be what it is. Like, maybe he wasn't allowed to use ice cream for whatever reason. Maybe they didn't have the rights to the name or something. And they were like, I'll create Soft Serve instead. That's why there's so many, like, black characters with lightning powers, is because of rights issues. So when they created Black Lightning, DC, ages ago, they wanted to use him in the Super Friends TV show, but it would cost more money to pay for the rights to the writer to use Black Lightning. So what they did was they created Black Vulcan instead, who was a very, very similar character, basically the same character. So they wouldn't have to pay to use Black Lightning. And the same with, there were like a bunch of characters in the Super Friends that were originally from the comics that they changed a little bit so they wouldn't have to pay people to use it in the show. I kind of liked and hated Batmite. He had some wild stories, but he also cancelled The Brave and the Bold. Yeah. I haven't actually read a lot of the Silver Age DC stuff, but the comic covers from DC in the Silver Age were just fantastic. Just the best thing ever. A lot of my Silver Age knowledge does come from the Brave and the Bold show. If DC ever makes I know they have a comic book service, but it's not available in Europe, so I can't use it. And there's nowhere that sells comics, so my options are piracy, which I feel bad about because comics are already struggling as is without me contributing to it with piracy. And that's it. Gonna miss the Music Meister. Oh yeah, it was great. And they had Neil Patrick Harris do the voice of Music Meister for the TV show. Didn't struggle happen because of it? Intellectual property stuff as well. That would make sense. You know what? That would make sense. I did not know about that, but I believe it. Yeah, IP stuff. That makes sense. If that's why they did that, because I was wondering why not just bring back Starman. I mean, I like Stargirl. She's a very fun character. Don't get me started on the Doom Patrol. Oh, I really need to read that. I haven't read very much of the DC stuff, honestly. And it's really cool that people in here know comic stuff, because I was not expecting to have anyone in here know comic stuff. So that's how I structured the thing. So some of the slides, if I do even go through the rest of the slides, honestly, because I could just talk for ages, but if I do go through the slides, a lot of them are very basic stuff. Black Lightning, Black Vulcan. There was a fake Black Lightning in the Black Lightning series, knockoff in Justice League, and then another used in Static Shock. Yeah, they really poor Black Lightning is very rarely getting the recognition he deserves. There's what was the name of the dude? There was El Dorado, I think it was. He was like a teleporting guy. Who was also changed. Grant's Doom Patrol was such a fun run. Too bad that Loken the last good thing he ever did. Static Shock's version was Soul Power. Oh, that's a fantastic name. I love that. Soul Power. That is great. I cannot type today. Don't worry about it. It's all good. This is... Neil was even voiced Spider. Oh, I did not know that. That's cool. Yeah. Neil Patrick Harris being in stuff is fun. Anytime he gets to sing as well is great. Like all the Music Meister songs are actually good. Like they're enjoyable to listen to. Eldorado Samurai and Apache Chief. Yep, those were the edited ones. Samurai has no relation to Katana, right? Because I know they replaced Samurai with Katana in, I think it was Young Justice. I'm sorry, a lot of my DC knowledge just come from the TV shows and whatever Comics Explained has talked about. Because they just, I can't read them. There's no way to do it. Besides, you know, piracy, which I'm not a huge fan of, to be honest. But Neil's villain musical was pretty good. It is. It is very good. I'm really looking forward to seeing him as the main antagonist of the 60th anniversary Doctor Who stuff. That should be coming up soon. Batman Brave and the Bold has some great, yeah, for sure. The Birds of Prey one is fantastic. And anytime Batman gets to sing is fun, honestly. Yeah. Brave and the Bold was how I found out a lot of characters existed. Like Zebra Man is a thing, and Plastic Man, who I don't know how he didn't end up in it. I suppose the DC movies were going for more serious things, so Plastic Man didn't really work. But Samurai has wind powers and Wind Dragon. Right, yes. Apache Chief was Long Shadow. Yeah, the dude that grows and shrinks. And then in the Young Justice show, he has a giant, rather than just growing himself, he has an energy giant that he creates, which is cool. That's always my favorite way for characters to grow and shrink. I've been playing a lot of Star Rail recently, and the dude that's coming up in the banner in 3 days, his thing is that same thing, is that he creates a giant energy dude that just sort of copies whatever he does. It's sort of like an energy mech, except it doesn't look like a mech, it's just a big man. The Wachowskis wrote a Plastic Man. Oh, that would be fun. I hope James Gunn gets to do something with Plastic Man. I feel like if there's a guy who'll get that right, it is James Gunn. I'm really looking forward to seeing the weird direction they're taking all of those movies. I mean, it'll probably be 10 years before they really get moving, but in 10 years' time, I will be very excited to see what they've come up with. Brown Bomber, oh no. In Justice League of America Volume 2, Issue 26, the Vixen encounters an alternate version of Black Lightning called the Brown Bomber. Why would they call him that? I don't know if I finished talking about this earlier, but there was I think it was the original writer for the Falcon, or someone just after, planned to have the Falcon actually be a coke dealer who would double-cross Captain America. To be honest, I wish the Question got more spotlight in media outside the Justice League America series. A Question show would be sick, or movie. Yeah, that'd be fun. Just like a noir type thing. Where he's uncovering stuff. Actually, the Green Lantern, I think it's going to be a Green Lantern TV show. It's going to be a similar thing. It's going to be sort of a detective story. So, I mean, he probably won't show up in that, but it'd be cool if he did. Yeah, honestly, all the Charlton guys are fun. I'm a big fan of Ted Kord, Blue Beetle. I'm looking forward to seeing him exist in the Blue Beetle movie. There's no way that he won't be included. I mean, he's not in any of the promotional stuff, but he has to be. He's gotta be in it. There's no way it'll just be Jaime. I mean, Jaime's great, don't get me wrong, I love Jaime. But Ted Kord is my favorite Blue Beetle. He's like a happy Batman, which is just the best thing. And a less annoying Batman. honestly. Like, the way Batman is written currently, where he's like, I always have enough prep time, and I'm prepared for everything because I have prep time, drives me insane. It's just so impossible to read that stuff and just not be annoyed. Etrigan film by Del Toro. His work on the Hellboy films was epic. Ooh, yeah, that'd be fun. Actually, you know, there was a Stanley... when Stanley did his own DC universe, he basically turned Shazam into Etrigan. Ted Cord. What have I been saying? I think I was saying Ted Cord. But yeah, Ted Cord's cool. Ted Cord and Booster Gold. Yeah, those guys are great. Honestly, it'll never happen because he showed up in the CW show, but the dude who played Booster in Legends of Tomorrow, regardless of what you think of that show, the guy they picked for Booster was fantastic, and it's a shame that they won't be able to use him in that. He was one of the guys from Scrubs. Ted Cord, Blue Beetle was the basis for the Owl in Watchmen. Yeah, all the Watchmen guys are based on the Charlton characters. You got Owlman as Ted Cord, you got Rorschach as the Question, you got actually, what are the Charlton characters? Peacemaker as I think the comedian. Could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Night Owl. Ah, yes. Owlman is Earth 3. My bad. Yeah. Earth 3 is so much fun. Like, obviously people have their opinions of New 52 stuff, but I think Forever Evil is one of my favorite DC things I've read. I mean, I haven't read a ton of DC, so I don't have a lot to go off of, but I really enjoy it. Comedian. Yes. What did I say? Bristol might get his own show and the game's gone. Oh, that'd be fun. That'd be nice to see. Wait, if I just had the Joe Quesada hates his family thing for ages. My bad. I hear Booster Gold might get his own show. Honestly, I would love that. If just Booster Gold, like, if it was an episodic show, it would be fun. If it was just like going through time, fixing stuff. I don't know, what else would you do with Booster? I suppose you could do like the Black Beetle thing where he's like chasing a dude through time and he spends a portion of each episode in a different time period chasing after, probably not Black Beetle specifically, but it could be Black Beetle, why not? Yeah, honestly, seeing Booster Gold would be cool. I'm not a huge fan of the Booster Gold from Smallville. There haven't been that many boosters, obviously, but the Smallville one where he's like covered in sponsored logos, which I mean makes sense for the character, but it just looked ugly. I like Heroes in Crisis, definitely one of my favorite books. Is that the one where Black Beetle and was it the Ultra Humanite go back in time and change a bunch of stuff? Or is that a different thing? Oh, I need to Google this. Heroes in Crisis. You know what I've never read, actually, and it's maybe blasphemous to say, and that's Kingdom Come. I've heard nothing but positive things about Kingdom Come, and I've just never been able to pick it up anywhere. Did you see the Charlton cartoon short that DC put out? I did not. Hold on, I need to find this. Heroes in Crisis. Oh, that looks... Oh, wait. Heroes in Crisis, that was the... Is that the one with Wally? That was the one with Wally West. Right. I see. I haven't read it, but I've heard people's opinions of it, and I will definitely have to give it a read. Hold on, I need to look up that Charlton cartoon you mentioned. I don't think I can play it here, so I will probably not watch the whole thing right now on my end, because I don't think that'd be very interesting. Oh, okay, I've gotten Greatest Heroes and Legends of the Bible, Joshua in the Battle of Jericho. I don't think that's correct. I mean, I'm sure that's great movie too. But I will go through the stream later and just like mark off all the things I now have to read. Obviously not have to, but like things I'm interested in reading. But yeah, this is cool. Honestly, I was not expecting to have people come in who had read comic stuff, but it's always really cool when that does happen, because I don't get to talk about comics very often. A lot of people just aren't that into reading them, to be honest, which is kind of a shame, because there's so many like great ones, like Immortal Hulk, which is the one that got me reading comics, I think 3-4 years ago. It's just fantastic. I mean, obviously, I don't blame people for not being too pushed at reading comics when there are a lot of very sort of mediocre ones. DC Showcase Blue Beetle. The Blue Beetle teams up with a question to investigate the manipulative schemes Dr. Spectro. Oh, wait, I think I might have seen this. This art style is fantastic. We gotta bring that back, the 1960s style. Sort of Scooby-Doo, Hanna-Barbera. Came out in 2021. Yeah. Sorry, I'd love to see just a whole show that was like that. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Oops. I don't know why that went out of full screen, my bad. Hopefully I didn't just like dox myself in any way. That would suck. I'll look that one up. I'm not sure what that is in reference to, but yes, look up everything that has been mentioned in the chat, because I'm getting a lot of good recommendations. I'm gonna read all this stuff later. But I should probably go through some more of this. So, I probably don't need to tell you that One Day was not well received. People really did not like that Spider-Man was broken up with. So, as a palate cleanser, this would have been better like 20 minutes ago when I was still talking about One More Day. Here's DJ Khaled, also known as Khaled Muhammad Khaled, or Arab Attack. He's a DJ and record producer, and a personal hero of both Stan Lee and myself. And in 2015, he got lost at sea on his jet ski. And we'll have a look at that. Oops, I have no audio. I'll just loop this for a second so I can fix the audio. Firefox. There we go.
It's dark. In a minute, there ain't gonna be no lights to navigate us to where we need to go. I'm gonna check in with y'all. Alright? Pitch black out here. Put the flash on the phone. If y'all know Jay-Z, tell her to call me.
What did I miss? Well, Joe Quesada forced Spider-Man to stop being with his wife, so we're looking at someone who loves his wife, and that is DJ Khaled.
It's not easy to win. I know that. It's so real out here right now. The only reason why you see anything is because I got the flash on.
Wait, did that loop? No, it just goes on for ages.
Not to drive your jet ski in the dark.
I don't know why, but he reminds me of Vin Diesel.
Not even just that. This ain't right. This shit real out here, boy.
Yep,
This
shit real.
out here.
Shit real.
This shit.
He's surviving. Is it still going? Still going. Okay.
God is good.
He was saved.
We made it. He never said it was easy to win.
Alright, thank you DJ Khaled.
Feels
And in 2017, he was once again stuck on his jet ski, this time not in the ocean, but on a tree.
it's dark. In a minute, there ain't gonna be no lights to
Oops,
navigate us
that's
to where we need
the
to
old
go.
one. What?
I'ma
Why
check
did they
in with y'all.
include this?
Alright?
Did I click on the wrong? I copy pasted the same one twice. Anyway, here's him at the Overwatch League in 2018.
I'm the one, yeah! Shout out DJ Envy in the building! Let's
There we
go! New York! Sing it!
This part is probably gonna get claimed now that I think about it. Oh, that guy's face. Yeah, so for whatever reason they chose DJ Khaled to do a music that lost child. He does not understand.
Another one!
Yeah, so they chose him to do a performance for Overwatch
Put your
League.
hands up like this!
And most of these people were unfamiliar with his work.
Sing it loud! New
So he's
York
doing his
City!
best with a crowd that doesn't know any of his music. And DJ Khaled himself doesn't sing, so he Oh, that's cute. Yeah, so DJ Khaled doesn't sing at his concerts. What he does is he holds out the microphone and people... Nope, I don't want to play Christmas music. Yeah, so he loves his wife, and that's why we're looking at him right now. Also, why is this not... Oh, full screen. There we go. The child threw me off. Yeah, honestly, just the sad little kid. I don't know why they put the camera on him. Honestly, why would you do that? Like, surely you want to look for kids who look happy, or who are singing along, and not like the saddest child that you've ever seen. I think he was dressed as Luffy as well. I'm not sure what he was looking for at Overwatch League. But yeah, that was DJ Khaled, a man who loves his wife, unlike Joe Quesada. Have you seen the videos of DJ Khaled's wife? Where he's like filming his wife and she's practicing boxing and he just won't leave her alone. I love DJ Khaled, he's great. But yeah, here's comic retcons. You guys will probably know most of these, because you read a lot of this stuff. But the ones that I included anyway were Superman. He didn't always fly. He jumped around. The last time I streamed, there weren't people who were reading a lot of stuff. Just my disappointment on the guy's face reminds me of the Diablo Immortal panel. There's a McCree screen he's dressed as. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, right. Yeah, he's got the like big hat. Yeah, I'm sure most of you guys are gonna know about like Superman not flying. Maybe not the no-kill rule. I didn't know about that until recently. And by recently, I mean this week. And obviously, the DC replaces many of its heroes with this at the start of the Silver Age, when the Comics Code came in. And most of the comics that took place before the Comics Code are now delegated to having existed within a comic book and then in the multiverse. And then to finish it off, the Hulk is grey. I had a whole second load of these done, but I just did not have time to finish it. So originally, Superman did not fly. He jumped around. Counter argument: DJ Khaled won't do oral. What? Where are you getting this information? Oh, Superman was partially based on Philip Wiley's Gladiator. I did not know that. That's cool. Published in 1930. But yeah, I was running out of time. This was the slide I did last, so I didn't get to finish it. So here's a video that someone else made explaining why Superman used to not fly.
Everyone knows that Superman has powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. But when you ask people if they could choose just one of Superman's powers, most people answer with flight. However, when Superman first appeared in 1938, he actually didn't fly. He leapt, only an eighth of a mile at a time. So when did Superman first fly? Many people think Superman first flew in the 1940s Fleischer animated shorts. However, that's not factually correct. Superman appears to have flown in the comics before the Fleischer cartoons, but only due to an error by artist Lee Nowak. While most of the artists on the Superman books at the time drew Superman leaping through the air, being new to the book, Nowak just took things a little further in 1941's Superman number 10. Nowak drew several panels in which Superman appears to be hovering in mid-air rather than in mid-leap. In this panel you can see Superman with clouds behind him and buildings below, appearing to be casually floating. There's no movement to his cape and there are no action lines indicating...
The radio serial? The radio serial wasn't actually the first one.
Interestingly, in a story entitled The Mysterious Mr. Mixius Tipolik, found in Superman number 30 with a cover date of September 1944, which incidentally is Mixie's first appearance, Superman is chasing Mixius Tipolik in the sky above Metropolis saying, I thought I was the only one who could fly. This appears to be the first time within the comics that Superman himself acknowledges his ability to fly. Superman's first flight in story was not from the comic books, but actually came a year earlier than the previously mentioned Superman number 10 during a radio program in 1940. In the very second episode of the Adventures of Superman radio show in February of 1940, titled Clark Kent Reporter, Superman is flying.
Thank you very much.
He opens the episode by hovering in the sky.
Today, as our story continues, we find him hovering with his curious power above a quiet highway in Indiana. A trolley car is just pulling up the hill, and as Superman wheels and turns in curious flight, unseen below...
However, that still is not the first time Superman flew. The first time Superman was depicted in flight was in 1939 on a British magazine cover. With an on-sale date of August 5th, 1939, issue number 772 of Triumph magazine featured an image of Superman flying in space away from Earth. America's McClure Syndicate licensed out Superman newspaper strips to Amalgamated Press to be reprinted in the British magazine, with the publication containing a mix of comic stories and illustrated fiction. It is believed that this image was drawn by UK illustrator John Jock McHale, who also did several other Superman covers for this run. It is clear in this image that Superman isn't simply leaping, he's in flight, fist first, well above the Earth and headed out to space. So now you know, while Superman could only leap an eighth of a mile to begin with, it wouldn't take long for the Man of Steel to take flight, but it wasn't in the comic books, it wasn't in the Fleischer cartoons, nor the 1940s radio series. The first time Superman was depicted in flight was on the cover of Triumph magazine, dated August 5th, 1939. I'm Steve Eunice from SupermanHomepage.com.
Thank you, Steve Eunice. Steve Eunice. Yeah, this channel's really cool, by the way. I'm gonna like this because there is so much information on this page. I highly recommend having a look at this fella's thingy. I don't know if that... Yeah, that worked. Cool. The Iron Age Dark Age of comics is a direct inverse response to the Comic Code Authority, a turning point marked with Frank Miller's Daredevil run, The Dark Knight Returns, and the death of Gwen Stacy. Yeah, they really... They went a little too far, kinda. You got all the Rob Liefeld stuff, which wasn't bad. Well, it wasn't good, but it was like Wild Thing. It was one of them. There was so many characters that were really ugly and looked very similar and just weren't that interesting. They were just sort of grim and gross for the sake of being grim and gross. And the Green Arrow, Green Lantern's vision of powerlessness in the face of heroin epidemic. Yeah, that was great. I love Frank Miller's Daredevil. That's another one I have to read. I honestly haven't read that much Daredevil. I've read the recent one with Elektra as Daredevil. That was fun. I mean, I found it kind of annoying that, like, they were literally in the comic. They say, what is it? Daredevil's in jail, and one of the inmates is like, "You won't serve your full sentence. Heroes never do." And Daredevil's like, "No, I will serve my full sentence." And then in like the next issue or the next 2 issues, he's out of jail. this guy. It was like, okay, I thought the writers were going to be serious and they were going to, you know, say, no, we're actually going to let him do his full sentence for, I think it was, did he kill Bullseye or something? I can't remember. Gog's design was directly influenced by Rob Liefeld's art, horns, eye tattoo, shoulder pads, equipment belt. Gog? Gog. Okay, Gog is... I'm getting a lot of different results for Gog. Wait, maybe it's short for something. Hold on, sorry. Yeah, the Gog that I know is a yellow dude from the... Was it Nick Spencer run of Spider-Man? I actually quite liked what they did with Boomerang for a while, but I feel like after a while, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was heavily influenced by Daredevil, to the point where they reenact Matt Murdock's blinding, and the same canister that gave Daredevil. Magog. That sounds familiar. You know what? That makes a lot of sense. The Ninja Turtle Daredevil sort of, not crossover, but they always did seem very similar. And I was wondering what that was about, but that makes sense if they were actually inspired by Magog. Magog and Gog. Magog and Gog, DC. Oh, Magog was... Yeah, death in the name of Gog. Yeah, no, this is not clearing anything up. The hand equals the... How did I never notice that? How did I never pick up on that? That's so obvious. I'm a fool. The foot and the hand, they're literally... It was so clear. Funnily enough, Miller getting mugged in New York is what set the wary tone for his Daredevil run. Oh. Okay. That's unfortunate, obviously, that happened, but... I mean, it created very good art. That's what you need for good art, I guess. Bit of mugging. Oh, where was I with the thingy, by the way? Oh yeah, so we were on Superman's flight. We already did that. Batman's no murdering thing. So I did not know this. I didn't know he was like he'd just kill people, whoever. New York used to be a cesspool. That I have heard. It is highly sanitized now. That's good. You know, safer. Hopefully. I'm sure it's probably still not like the safest place in the world, but it's good that people can not be as scared to go out now. So, what was I gonna say? Batman, yeah, so his whole not killing people thing, I always thought that was a thing. But it's... Batman before the no-kill rule is some pretty funny whiplash. Batman is a federal agent with a gun dressed as a bat. It's funny. Yeah. It's interesting the depictions of Gotham and comic book New York City sometimes resemble old New York. Yeah. But Gotham is actually New Jersey. Which, depending on your opinion of New Jersey, I've never been. But some people are less impressed to find that out. I'm sure New Jersey is nice. I've never been to the US, so I have no opinions on any particular place there. You know what's sanitized? Alex Ross's beautiful art. Oh, his stuff is fantastic. All of the covers that he did for Immortal Hulk, beautiful. And Earth X, I had just a blast reading. I've read it a ton now. Earth X and what was the one? Marvel's X. I had a lot of fun with that. I know some people didn't like that, but I quite enjoyed Marvel's X. Did you see Batman's original costume? The red one. The red one? Oh, the one where he has the wings and he's like blonde? I live in New Jersey. I live on the Hudson across from New York. Oh. Would you say it's very Gotham-like in appearance? They made a joke about the red suit in Daredevil. Yeah. You know, I actually grew up with the yellow Daredevil. That was the one that I was familiar with. When I was a kid, I had like an annual, a Spider-Man annual, and they had reprinted a lot of, well, not a lot of, 3 or 4 of the original Spider-Man issues in there. And it was Spider-Man had been hypnotized by the, what was it, Evil Circus, or the fucking Mischief Circus, or Stealing Circus? I can't remember what it's called. No, it's not like Chicago. It's not like Gotham. Okay. Hub City is Chicago. Oh, okay. And of course, Motor City then is, I think, Detroit, isn't it? So is Metropolis New York? Is that what's going on? Circus of Crime, that's what they were called, yeah. So Spider-Man had been controlled by the Circus of Crime to just sort of do tricks and stuff. Ringleader, yeah, he had the big hypnotism swirl on his hat. This big goofy guy. And Daredevil, being blind, was immune to the ringleader. So he went in and he saved Spider-Man. And they fought the Circus of Crime. And that was like my introduction basically to comic books. Was that issue and the one where Spider-Man is signed on to do a movie, and the Green Goblin, it's all a ploy by the Green Goblin to attack him, and then he finds the Hulk under a mountain. I think they rewrote that because I don't remember that being in the in the actual original one. I think they rewrote that specifically for whatever annual it was. What was the other one? There was one other story. It was Kraven. That's who it was. They had Spider-Man and Kraven just fighting. That was it. And at the end, Kraven's just like webbed up on a giant spider web. Yeah, that was what got me into comics. That was when I was reading that. I was like, this is what I want more of this. And then like 10 years went by and I just could not find comic books anywhere because they don't sell them here. I've found maybe 1 or 2 shops that have sold comic books, and one of them no longer exists, and the other one is like in an extremely awkward location and I can't get to it very easily. So yeah, I've been restricted to like mostly online stuff. So Marvel Unlimited has been like my saving grace for reading most of this stuff. But it also means that I can't escape the M&M sponsored Marvel comic books, or the Audi sponsored comic books, or whatever. Like when Caramel M&M saves the rest of the M&Ms while they're on the Guardians of the Galaxy ship. Wacky stuff. I really want to read more DC stuff. I feel like I'm missing out because I love Green Lantern stuff. The Jeff John run seems to be pretty good. I read a bit about the like Phantom Lantern. wasn't a huge fan of that. I thought it was cool, the idea that like there was a ring and it could use whatever, but you couldn't use it properly, and it would just like kill you. Thought that was fun. Came in at a weird time, yeah. Oh, you did. We're not really. I've sort of been sometimes doing the. I thought you were talking about the Phantom Lantern. Came in at a weird time, but I've not entirely abandoned the slides, but I've been just sort of rambling for this has just been like, what power did the caramel M&M have? He didn't have any powers. He was literally just a caramel M&M, but he wears glasses. That's his thing. He's like short and he's a cube, and he wears glasses. There's also one where the M&Ms do a bank heist dressed as the Avengers. I don't know where that one's gone, but like all the different M&Ms are wearing Avengers masks, like in the Spider-Man Homecoming movie. Green Lantern was mystical, then redone in the Silver Age to have sci-fi origin. Yeah, I do definitely prefer the more sort of space police thing. Like the Nova Corps is cool. I wish they did more Nova Corps stuff in the comics. I got like a free comic book back when the Marvel comic app was a thing. I couldn't afford any of the like digital comics, but they would put out like a free sample basically of all the comics that were going to come out over the next 2 months or whatever. And from that I started reading, well, started and stopped reading the Nova stuff. It was, I think, Annihilation, or I think that's what the plot was at the time. It was Nova and all the Corps was dead and they were all in his head and he was going crazy. Remember when Batman and Robin painted themselves in a whole room yellow? Yes, I was looking at that panel like yesterday, thinking, should I include this? Should I not? And he's drinking lemonade and he's just like smug. He was mystical? Yeah, so back in the day, Green Lantern, the original Green Lantern, got his powers from like was it like a magic swamp? And because it came from the swamp, then his powers didn't work on wood or whatever. And he had like a big red cape, and he wore like a red shirt with a lantern drawn on it. There was very little with him that was related to the color green, except for like his ring, obviously, because he's got they're all based around him. Based lemonade. Yeah. He's got to be drinking lemonade. If he was drinking anything else, Hal could have stolen the lemonade, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I think that was more for like, what do you call it? Like a visual joke. Early days were wild. Yeah, the Golden Age stuff was crazy. There was Asbestos Man. Does anyone remember Asbestos Man? And the original Asbestos Man died because his suit was made of asbestos, and then someone else took on the identity of Asbestos Man. Yeah, because I don't know, I guess people weren't aware that asbestos was dangerous back in the 40s or whatever. So there was a dude that was dressed entirely in asbestos, and his whole thing was that he put out fires, was he? No. What did he do? Insulation? Was he a Flash enemy? Penny Dreadful, dime novels, story papers, pulp magazines, comic books. Yeah. You can kind of see some of the pulp remains in Golden Age stuff, like Superman just killed people initially. Cursed suit, for real. I can't remember what it was from, but like the new Asbestos Man, someone was like asking him, like, you know that you shouldn't wear that, right? He was like, it's fine. This is my job. It's been dangerous in the 1800s. Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking then. It was just strange. Wait, Asbestos Man Marvel or DC? I remember the second Asbestos Man was actually created by like the mob as a way to distract superheroes so that the mob wouldn't have to worry about like being interrupted by superheroes. But yeah, back in the time when it was like, when comics were still sort of pulpy, the end of the 30s, very beginning of the 40s. I mean, I think I mentioned it, or did I mention it? No, I think it's actually coming up in the next slide. But back in the around 1940, 1941, there was a DC editorial mandate that they have characters that weren't like killing people, because they were worried that mothers would not want their kids reading that sort of material and that it would drive down sales. So they changed it so that none of their superheroes killed people. So that was why that was, even before the Comic Code Authority. Yeah, actually there he is killing a guy in the very first issue of, sorry, not his first issue, but his first appearance. In Detective Comics number 27, he punched a dude into acid. And he was not upset about it. And then in issue 4 Batman, they had like a proper thing. The Spirit was and Dick Tracy were really good comics. Ooh, okay, I need to read those. I love the anti-Batman, Killer Moth and Cat. Yeah, Catman's so funny. I wish there was more Catman stuff. Like, in the Batman 2005-2004 TV show, which I know some people don't like, but I quite enjoyed. They did like a play on Catman. I think they called him like Rival or something instead, but he just looked like Catman, and he was meant to be an evil Batman who helped criminals get away with crimes and get in the way of Batman and Robin. Pulps and comic books span a wide swath of genres: true crime, horror, western, pirate. Yeah, they used to do a lot of horror stuff before they did like superhero stuff. Yeah, actually, when the Comics Code was brought in, they couldn't use certain words either in comics in the Silver Age, so they couldn't say the word werewolf or vampire. So like Morbius couldn't be a vampire, so instead he had these gross energy suction not fingers, they were in the palm of his hand, like gross suction things. Sounds like what a cat would do. Yep. Just trying to eat a Batman. But yeah, they had to find ways. They couldn't use like direct vampires, and they couldn't mention werewolves. So there was a writer at the time, Marv Wolfman, and they used his name Wolfman in the script of one of the comics because they wanted to see if they would get away with it, instead of saying Wolfman, because werewolf, they couldn't say werewolf. And because of that, in the next issue they had to credit Marv Wolfman with the script so they wouldn't get in trouble with the Comics Code Authority. And that was an inciting incident which led to people getting like proper credits for comic books, which is pretty cool. Like before then, people didn't really have their names attached to comics most of the time. So there's a lot of like throwaway comics now famous Marv Wolfman. Yep, Teen Titans, that was him. That's part of the reason why I know that a little bit, because I had to read up more on the creation of the Teen Titans for the Donna Troy bit. Donna Troy's origin is so messy. Oh, poor Donna Troy fans. I knew a girl who really enjoyed Wonder Girl stuff. Like that was her favorite character. Yeah, it's hard sell Donna Troy just with all the different origins. If you're trying to read like old stuff, if you want to just go with the most recent origin, whatever it is, it's no problem. But it gets very confusing the more you look into it. Like I've already forgotten like half the origins they gave her because it was just there's too much. It was too confusing. Also, for a period of time, she was obviously Wonder Woman from the past, but then she was a different character, and she no longer looked like Wonder Woman. But then they changed the comic so that she now looked like Wonder Woman. Would that not be extremely distressing for a child? Like suddenly you wake up and you look like Wonder Woman? I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but I always thought that was really messed up. That just like suddenly she's a duplicate of Wonder Woman. She used to look different, and now she's Wonder Woman. And then they just made her like a straight up, not clone, but like not a copy either. It's like a very similar looking person. I think that was the most recent one where she was like made out of clay again, and she was used. They tried to have her take the place of Wonder Woman. I talked about this like an hour ago, but yeah, it was messy. Donna Troy has a messy origin. I didn't even know what her origin was until I started looking into all this, and it is a lot. Speaking of messy, Clayface, there's like 7 of those. Little sister, so not quite, kind of. So originally she was a, you know, like, so Superman had Superboy comics, which were like they were meant to be like in the past. Here's what Superman did when he was growing up, that sort of thing. So they had that with Wonder Woman as well, and that was Wonder Girl. Wonder Girl was like, here's what Wonder Girl did in the past. And sometimes Wonder Girl and Wonder Woman would hang out in the same time frame. But I'm not sure if it was Marv Wolfman specifically. I think I wrote down, was it Bob something? Bob Amy or something? Grabbed Wonder Girl as a girl appeal character to add to the Teen Titans. At the time, he assumed it was just like her sidekick. So she ended up in the Teen Titans, but for 22 issues, she didn't have a name. Like, Donna Troy was added after the fact in issue 22. She was a computer simulation of Wonder Woman as a girl. Yeah, that was it. She had never had one. In fact, she's not a real character, if you can call them anything real. She was a computer simulation of Wonder Woman as a girl. Yeah, that was the original one. And then after that, she was a baby who was orphaned, and Wonder Woman saved her from a fire. And then after that, she was actually a baby who was orphaned and saved by one of the Titans, not the Teen Titans, but the Titans, the gods, who are parents of the Greek gods. They saved her from a fire, and then they made her like a sleeper agent sort of thing, so that she would become the child of destiny or something. I don't know, it's messy. Created by Amazon sources, Megala using a spell to give life to Diana's reflection so the young princess would have an age-appropriate friend. That was another one. I forgot about that. Yes. She was originally like a younger friend to Diana, and then I don't know, Diana went off on adventures and just sort of left Donna behind, I guess. You know? This duplicate is kidnapped by World War II Wonder Woman nemesis Dark Angel. Dark Angel forces Donna to undergo multiple lives that all end in tragedy and result in her resetting back to her beginning. Oh. That's rough. Ugh. Poor old Donna. Getting the rough thing. I have to mute for 2 seconds. Sorry, I was gifted something. What was I talking about? This duplicate is kidnapped by... Oh, yes, Donna Troy. Poor old Donna. had a rough time of it. She had her memories erased, and then they were brought back. I think it was memories specifically of Wally West that were really erased. I mean, that was everyone. Everyone forgot about Wally, but... Oh, I'm gonna mute again for 2 seconds. There we go. Yeah, poor old Wally. Everyone forgot about him, and then his kids are gone, and then his wife is gone, and then more things happened to him. What are we talking about? The Silver Age. Oh, finally, that's what that was. Yeah, there's the Comics Code Authority. So in 1954, comics were being blamed for increased juvenile crime. And of course, what was there was like one particular book that was being like explaining all of this crime. It was comic books. It was Comic Code Authority. It was like Silence of Innocence or something. The Seduction of the Innocent. That's what it was called. Well, I didn't just open that on stream. Good. Yeah, so the Seduction of the Innocent went around, and people were sort of scared of comic books now. So in response to that, the Comic Authority was formed, and then everyone had to change what they were putting in their comic books. So the Silver Age began. Woohoo! The Silver Age has so many strange comic covers. Like, a lot of these were cover first, story second. Like the one where Superman turns into a lion, which I think I put in here somewhere. Or the one where the Flash gets really fat the more he runs. There's stuff like that. Things that are good for covers. That's why there's so many gorilla-themed characters in DC. Gorillas, for whatever reason, were really good for covers, so they would put gorillas on things, and then they would write stories around the gorillas. It makes more sense that increased juvenile crimes was the increase in juveniles. Yeah, it was just there were more people. The concept of the multiverse was introduced in The Flash. Yeah, I'm almost at that. There's like 2 more slides. But yeah, the Comic Code Authority was formed, and you couldn't use any blood, you couldn't have any nudity, you couldn't have any bad words, you couldn't have criminals be sympathetic, you couldn't have, what was it, authority questioned. Any authoritative figure was a good guy. So things kicked off then with Barry Allen, and all of the Golden Age comic books were explained away as they all happened within a comic book. Don't worry about it. Gorilla Grodd was great, yeah. And then they had Solivar, and then they had Titano. He's the giant gorilla that Superman fights sometimes. Yeah, there were just a lot of gorillas. And there was that time that everyone was a gorilla. Yeah, so I just listed a bunch. I grabbed the official list of Comic Code Authority rules. Just have a quick skim, see which ones were fun. So, policemen, judges, government officials, and respected institutions shall never be presented in such a way as to create disrespect from established authority. And they did away with that. Pulp heroes use guns. Magic gimmick heroes, stage magicians, one-power heroes, often chemical. Yeah. The Golden Age was very much, they liked chemicals. I think, what was it? The Flash, the original Jay Garrick Flash, he got his powers from limescale, hard water, fumes or something. And Our Man was a guy who had superpowers once for 1 hour a day. Atomic heroes. Yeah, that's sort of what it was. It was like 1950s idea of the future sort of heroes. Criminals shall not be presented in, yeah, I already said that one. In every instance, good shall triumph over evil, and the criminal punished for his misdeeds. No comic magazine shall use the words horror or terror in its title. Females shall be drawn realistically without exaggeration of any physical qualities. I mean, that's not bad, I don't think. Illicit sex relations, I mean, obviously it's better to just have none of these rules, but I don't think that's a terrible one to have. Seduction shall never be shown or suggested. Sex perversion or any inference to same is strictly forbidden. Yeah, look at all of these fun things. Unnecessary knife and gunplay. Anyway, back to the Golden Age. Monsieur Malat. Oh yes, the big gorilla with the beret. He hangs a lot with the brain. Gorilla Grod. Oh yeah, the Ultra Humanite. When he isn't a T-Rex? He was a T-Rex for a bit? I know he was like a man and he put his brain in a gorilla. Well, he was a man and then he was a woman and then he put his brain in a gorilla. But I think the longest lasting are the gorilla characters. Yeah. A lot of the Silver Age gorillas just didn't go away. The idea of Hawkman as a science fiction concept existed in Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon, carried over throughout the decades. Yeah, the Hawkman origin is kind of confusing in that he has like two, and it's not always explained which is true. Like, he's a dude from the planet Thanagar, but he's also an ancient Egyptian prince or pharaoh who's destined to keep being reborn. I don't know. Even when they fix some of this stuff, they don't really fix it. Yeah, so in 1961, DC wanted to reuse some of their old Golden Age characters that were sort of stored away because of the Comic Code Authority. So what did they do? They had the Flash vibrate really hard into Earth 2. And the explanation as to why all of the existing gorilla is peak, for sure. There's a really good video by Comic Tropes, I think, who and he just goes into all of the times that they used gorillas in comics. Hawkman has about 3 or 4. They did a good job showing them up in the JLU animated series. Excuse me. Yeah, I think in that one, he's just like a regular guy. Wait, there's actually 2 Carter Halls in the Justice League animated stuff. There's Qatar or whatever, who's like an actual Thanagarian, and then there's a dude named Carter, who is an archaeologist who like it goes insane and becomes the Sentry basically. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, so they explain away the whole Earth Golden Age heroes being in comics thing as when you dream, sometimes your dreams are looking at other multiverse worlds. It really doesn't get mentioned that often. Like, I feel like when they figured that out, sometimes it should come up in conversation. I mean, this is pre-crisis, obviously, but like I've never heard of people being like, oh, I dreamed that I was in Earth 2 and I was watching, I don't know, Owlman fight Earth 2 Batman or whatever. I mean, he's dead, but yeah, it just doesn't come up as often as you would think. Like, if the multiverse was real, wouldn't everyone be talking about it all the time? I don't know. Yeah, Hulk used to be great. Everyone knows Hulk used to be great. He was great for a total of 1 issue. For Hulk #1. Oh, my throat's a bit sore. So they changed it due to a printer issue. The printer couldn't get a consistent gray going. It was messing up in some way, so they had to change the color. So they went with green and purple for himself. And then they stuck with the green and purple forever. Haha. No, they didn't. Well, I don't know. There are definitely people that think they are married to people from a different universe. Then retro continuity again into Joe Fixit. Yup, there he is on the next one. Nope, sorry, the next one. There he is, Joe Fixit. Joe's great in the Immortal Hulk run, by the way. I don't know if anyone's read that, but he's a very fun character in that. But yeah, then in Incredible Hulk 2, he fights the Toadman in all his green glory. Stanley was apparently very, very happy that he went with green, because then he gets to call him the Jolly Green Giant and stuff. Yeah, so this is the end of part 1 of the slides anyway, because I ran out of time to prepare. Literally, I was gonna do all these 5 as well. I figured I could get them done in time. I couldn't. So that'll be next time. And I just like populated this with silly, mostly Silver Age stuff. There's like 2 that are modern, like the the Daredevil one. I don't know what that's from. Captain America is great. Yeah, I really want to talk about all the 1950s Captain Americas, because that seems like a really interesting one. Like, there was the one who was obsessed with him and basically thought he was Captain America, Steve Rogers. The Toadmen are totally doing a pog face. Hold on, what? Yeah, they are. Oh my goodness, I didn't notice that. That's great. Old comics are great. The 60s is really good for stuff. But yeah, I'm just gonna have a quick skim through. So I had to put a boot on Tiger in that top left one. Going nuts, going wild. I really want to know where the Daredevil one is from, where he's like trying to type and he's typing a cat. Like, is it one of those things where he loses his memory or whatever and he doesn't understand why he's blind or whatever? But yeah, I don't know what this one is from, where Batman gets turned into paper either. I want to know what that is. I've seen the Jimmy Olsen one where his dad, where he like adopts him technically or whatever. Jimmy, this gift you got me for Father's Day makes me so sorry I ever adopted you as my son. I'll have to destroy it to teach you a lesson. But Superman, I mean Dad, what did I do wrong? There's so many like Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen comics where it's like in the title it's like Superman is secretly evil and he's torturing Jimmy, and then it's explained away as like he's mind controlled, or it's someone in disguise, or he was under deep cover and he had to do it to maintain his deep cover. Also, there's the one where he turns into a lion in the top left. And the one where he's a mantis or a giant ant. He's a giant ant in the bottom left. And I gotta include Throg in the top right there. Everybody loves Throg. I was looking for the whole universe where everyone is animals. I remember there was a bit of that in one of the original Civil War, not the Civil War 2, one of the Civil War 1 tie-in books. It had Spider-Ham going through a bunch of different universes. And at the very start, there's like a little snapshot of all the different animal superheroes and villains fighting each other. They give a nod to the instability of the super soldier serum with the US agent in the MCU. Rog was in Loki. Yeah. He was in Loki, was he? I don't remember that. I remember the alligator dude, but I do not remember Throg. I need to go back and give that a watch then. Ooh, I'm gonna be busy now. So many recommendations. Captain Carrot. Captain Carrot? Hold on, what? Captain Carrot. Captain Carrot DC. Oh! Oh wow, there's a DC one as well. I was thinking Marvel. There's a Marvel universe, because they had their multiverse as well. I was trying to figure out where their multiverse started, and I couldn't find that. I'll have to find that for the next one. It was a cameo. Ah, cool. I'm looking forward to Loki Season 2. I think that's going to be fun. I quite enjoyed the first season. Carrot and Zoo Crew. That's a great name. They gotta push that more. I don't know if any of you play Marvel Snap, but during the month of April, all of the cards that they put out were animal themed. So like we got Hitmonkey. Hitmonkey's funny. If you don't know Hitmonkey, he's a hitman who is a monkey. That's his thing. There's like a Marvel Unlimited have this character that is a puppy shark. So it's a shark with just like puppy paws, and the whole thing is it's cute. and it hangs out with Marvel characters. He's in that. Stegron, I love Stegron. They made a card for Stegron, and he's in the game now, which is great. Throg is in a jar when they pan up through the layers of Earth. Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna have to keep an eye out for that. What was I talking about? Stegron. Stegron's cool. Any dinosaur man character is gonna always be one that I'm a fan of. I just think they're fun. So I just need to very quickly set something up. Customization? Nope. Details? Come on, YouTube, you can do it. Oh, they make it so awkward to to find stuff. It's always gotta be. Here we go, redirect. I'm gonna prepare this now. Who's streaming? Nobody is streaming right now. Cool. Okay. DC had yes, Detective Chimp is fun. I remember his episode from, he had a few episodes in Brave and the Bold. Ape, dinosaur, robot. Those things would solve, yeah, honestly. You put those things in comics, it's a winner. You got Sauron, of course, the man who's turned himself into dinosaurs and wants to turn everyone into dinosaurs. Stegron, who is very similar. There's more dinosaur characters for sure. I'm trying to think. Is there? The ones that came to mind were like the alien dinosaur hybrid ones, but those are Ninja Turtles characters. DC also had Angel and the Ape. Angel and the Ape. Ooh, Animal Man. That reminds me, Animal Man's fun. I need to read was it the Rebirth Animal Man? It's supposed to be very good. Ooh, Human Target is one that I've read recently, actually. I mean, I didn't read the whole thing because it wasn't out the whole way when I was reading it, but that was a lot of fun. I really liked that story. All the stuff with like Ice and Guy Gardner. That's what it was. Ice and Guy Gardner. Great stuff. Yeah, Human Target from... Ooh, I don't know who wrote it actually. I'm gonna have to look that up. DC Human Target 2022. Tales of the Human Target. Maybe that's it? Yep. Who wrote it? Tom King. Tom King wrote it. The art's really good as well. And very sort of old James Bond. Well, the cover, anyway. The internal stuff is just like standard 2015 sort of comic art. Like Young Avengers. I haven't even talked about the Young Avengers at all. Does Animal, Vegetable, Mineral Man count as a dinosaur character? Partially, yeah. He's like 30% dinosaur or 10% or whatever. Oh, that reminds me, the Doom Patrol show is so good. I can't believe like that they were able to put the characters in that were in it. I don't want to say too much because it's a very good show. If you haven't seen it, you should see it. Like, even as a regular TV show, it's good. It's not necessarily just good by the standard of superhero shows. So my food is actually going cold. I have food here, and I might just end the stream around here. So thank you for everyone who came. Honestly, it has been just a blast talking about comic books. They have a weird card that's for aliens divided into quadrants. Who is that? Oh, do you mean the Doom Patrol does? Right. Right, yes, sorry. I'm gonna go eat my food now. Originally when I wrote this, I was very tired, so I was gonna have a sleep. Also, I just realized I've been blocking this great thing where it's like Jimmy Olsen has wrapped a gift for Superman, and he's immediately just like burning it up. But yeah, thank you for everyone who stopped by and who just talked about comics with me, because this has just been so much fun. I'm going to be doing this very frequently. Once a week if I can do it. I will definitely enjoy if DC does. Right. Yes, I'll be doing these hopefully weekly. It might be bi-weekly, depending on how much free time I have. But yeah, thank you for joining me. I'm gonna go now. And we're not raiding anyone because no one is live. Ooh, actually, wait, hold on. I can raid someone. I can. It'll just be... Yeah, honestly, it's very hard to find avenues to talk about comic books. Ooh, actually, before I go, if you like comic books, B-Mask has this fantastic... what is it? He did like this fantastic, like 2-hour-long thing on why he enjoys the Fantastic Four, and it's just really well put together. Like, even if it's not new information, the way that the information is... Did I just close the stream? Where? No, okay, cool. Oh, that scared me for a minute. But yeah, B-Mask has this really beautifully done sort of love letter to the Fantastic Four, which I highly recommend watching if you enjoy comics, and even if you aren't that into comics. Anyway, bye. Have a good afternoon, I suppose, for American people. It's sort of evening now for me. I'm gonna go. Bye.
We, as a society, are filled with evil. It's time that we took the government on, and it's time that we got them. What should we do? We gotta start changing our outfit. We gotta go back to faith in our Lord. We've gotta go back. We gotta allow kids and people to be punk rockers and be radical. We have to, so that they can learn to fight these evils, and then they can learn to stand up for themselves. You know, punk rockers end up up for yourself. And change. Discussing fortunately a very